Cool. Okay, I think it's time to start. Hello, everyone. My name is Piyawat Louilarpprasert. I'm a Thai composer, and currently, actually, I supposed to stay in New York for my doctoral degree. Cool. But for now, I moved back to Bangkok for family business, and also have some good time here. So today, I would like to thank you, Professor Sundin Kim and Jayon, for the kind invitation, for having me to share my experience, my musical works, compositions, thoughts. So maybe it may be could be useful or inspiring for people. So today, I would like to share my screen. So today, the topic that I choose to talk, I call it as composing objects. So the composing objects has is such a very identical idea for me to compose the pieces. So that I would like to start a little bit about my background. So first of all, my background, I from Thailand. I study my music from College of Music Mahidol University with Professor Valery Risaya. And then after that, I met a Thai composer, Anotai Nitibon, who was the former dean at Princess Galani Watana Institute of Music. Then we had a project together in Germany in 2014 at Darmstadt New Music Festival with the Asian Contemporary Music Ensemble. So that's me on the right. So that we play new music together with the conductor Peter Wheel. So we kind of have collaboration between young composer, young performers, and then it was the time that I met Professor Sungin Kim, who brought me to um, go to Korea at Seoul National University and had a performance at Mulia Art Space. So that's kind of like the beginning of my musical journey, um, the compositional stuff. So yeah, it was me um, 6 years ago. It's a little bit different from now. So I had a very good time at the Seoul National University and the Mulia Art Space. So that it's a very good time for me to exploring sound, um, working as composer, performer, and then make good friends there. So that after Korea, I went to England for my master at Royal College of Music, where I studied with Mr. Daifuji Kurat, the composer, Japanese composer, who had very unique voice and very good music. So during my UK time, I had some experience in Europe, something like Lucerne Festival, Gaudium Music Week, and more experience that I think it was a great time. And then I moved to Austria for my composer in resident program at Kuta Kontakt residency. So after I finished my residency, I came back to not came back. I moved to USA for my doctoral degree at Cornell University, where I'm here now. So um, thank you. Oh, so enough for the background. So today I would like to present the idea of composing objects, which I got inspiration from the word instruments. So in general, like performers, composers, we are learning how to use instruments, right? Like how to play. For example, I'm a trombone player. I have to learn how to design the embouchure. I have to learn how to control the air pressure to start to activate the sound from the trombone. Some violin player has to adjust the fingering, learn how to play Suzuki or any kind of different methods. So that I found that instruments is an object. So in other words, the object could be an instrument too. So there's a different ideas from like how can I compose a piece for speakers, how can I compose a piece for computers, how can I compose a piece from table, right? So I can do a lot of piece by making sound around me, right? So I feel that objects could be an instrument, so that I have some compositional practice like today that would like to share. So first of all, I call it a self-performer because I'm a trombone player. So I found that finding sounds by ourselves, um, it's a process that all composers doing, right? So like we have to, some people like open the books, right? Learning orchestration, learning techniques, or some people go out, get inspiration of sound, gathering the sound material. For me too. So as a performer, so I try to gather the sonic idea and some conceptual aspect through the my own performance. So after that, like working on trombone objects, I have some cooperation with the technological usages. Like for example, using electronic devices. It could be analog, it could be like digital synth, it could be mixings between analog and digital form. So I will share it later. So after have like self exploration, technological usages, and then I have an idea to have the instrumental extensions, and also like hacking little things by myself. Sometimes I could find a song by hacking instruments. Some people will hate me. Sometimes if I just like use a scissors to cut the string of violin, so like they will just like, wow, no, don't do that. So, but I think I just want to hear the breaking sound or try to collect the energy of the sound by memories. So the exploration is very important for that part. After that, when I have like experimentation, technology, instrumental extensions, and then I found that the direction of sound is very interesting for me. For example, when I play trombone, I noticed myself that trombone has a shape like a bell, right? A bell got the sound production from air, from inside human, and then transfer to the metal with the pressure, and then it creates the sound through the bell. So there's one dimension which is forward, in front, right? Some other wind instruments too, like for example, a flute, they have like many holes, right? The mechanism inside the instruments, and then when they try to change the hole or like the position, it create different kind of sounds, pitches, and frequency. So I found that exploring in directional sound is very important for composers nowadays, so that I love to incorporate this idea into the diversity of instrumental formats. Like for example, could be in solo music, chamber music, orchestral music, electronics, or installation in the various kind of form. So that today I have some picture. So here, this is the piece that I performed 2 years ago by myself. Um, it's a piece for trombone and tubes. So I was exploring the multi-directional sound while I extend the trombone with the tubes, like you see, um, in order to find different kind of sound direction. It could be on the right, on the left, on the front, on backward, or in my ear. So it's there's a lot of possibilities. There are some pictures from the works, the improvisation that I made in Ithaca this year. So it's a piece for three motors. So as you can see, I have three cute heads. They are my friends. So I put motors above their heads, and the motor creates some kind of vibration by rotation. So the rotation create the multi-directional sound, which attach to the material from the head, which is a foam, and then it create kind of the different direction when the more the motor rotating. And then just the last example of the introduction. So this is the collaboration between my friend Sergio Cote and Piso Manachin Apisit at Cornell University, where we had like kind of sound improvisation and then interaction with the visual medias. So as you can see now, sound doesn't have only one direction. Instrument doesn't have only one way to create the sound. So I found one idea which is interesting and will be the focus of today, which is called spinning sound. Today I would like to introduce the idea of spinning tubes. So spinning sound, sorry, the theory of tubes. So I got the idea of the multi-directional sound in order to create the series of pieces. Like I would like to share it now. So the first piece is the piece that you see the picture in front. So there is the development of trombone techniques. For example, glissando, sliding, spinning, um, create some kind of self-performing by myself, have some gestural focus, multi-sound direction, a little bit of humor I will show you in a bit, and the flexibility and freedom. It's kind of like I can bend the instrument in a various form. So talking about why I choose this kind of sound in terms of because there are so many sounds, right? So I think composer always asks ourselves like how to um, why we choose this sound, why it's so important. So basically, this is my current research interest. The importance of the spinning sound is to observe the multidirectional sound by extending the instrument with tubes. So the extending instrument creates such a diverse musical parameters such as tone, color, pitches, and articulations. So I found that the design of the instrument create the extension, not just only the instrument, but also the culture of the instrument, because the culture of the trombone is the sliding, right? It's the bell, one direction sound. But what if we can slide too, and also we can expand the motion, we can expand the direction of the sound in the different dimensions. So I found that this is interesting. So here there is also some conceptual interpretation too. So like I got some inspiration from the elephant. So the elephant has such a fascinating organ, right? So their nose can be like flexible and use it for like spilling water or something like that. So I found that it's a nice model to construct the instrument. So this is the I cropped from Facebook because it was funny. Like 2 years ago, I posted this, and then it's just an experimentation. But the power of social media, it makes people going sharing a lot and turn off like it's kind of like popular. So let's hear some excerpt about this. This is from May 18, 2018 in Ithaca. Yep, something like that. So, in order to share this, I will um, put up some link into the YouTube channel, so everyone can see it like instantly. So here, hello guys. Yeah. So, this is a kind of like the general idea that I got playing with these idea on the screen, like the multi-directional sound, the flexibility and freedom of the instrument, and also the culture of the instrumental construction. And also there's some humor inside, like someone would say, oh, it's funny, or someone would say it's, oh, it looks interesting, something like that. Yeah, so that's the first piece. And then I try to continue to develop this idea more in terms of expansion, right? Because in general, composer, I think in the past, for example, like composer like Ligeti, Bartok, let's say, some people who they have like not many ideas, but those ideas are so concrete and so focused. So I feel like, okay, maybe it would be interesting to develop this idea more and more into more pieces. So there is a next piece that I wrote for my best friends, which 2 years ago. I call it "Play Your Sin in Hell." Sorry for the heavy metal name. So it's a piece for saxophone neck with the tube and prepare guitar. Um, it's a piece which has the idea about the instrumental deconstruction, which means the way to deconstruct the mechanism of the instruments, and also some thought of extension and hacking, right? There's of course the physical extension of the instruments, performer interaction because it's a duo. It's like a conversation between instruments, and inside there's some sound, energy, and repetition inside the piece. So let's see the instrument here. So the saxophone neck, actually it must be replaced with the, not replaced, sorry, must be conjunct with the body of the saxophone, right? But I found that the tubes, it could be the body of the saxophone too. So I deconstruct in order to find um, kind of the shape, because if you can play like saxophone player like that, or you can play like the tubes like that too. So there's a different physicality and motion inside the construction. And the second one is the guitar. The guitar, I was thinking to spin the guitar, but I think maybe it was a bit too much. And then, so I tried to um, find a way to reconstruct the sound of the guitar, how to design the guitar as more as the percussion instrument. So I put some strings um, above the guitar's actual strings, which are incorporate from nylon material, metal material, and also some metal chopstick here. So in order to create the guitar as the percussion instrument. So here is the preparation. So the piece is focusing on the gesture, right? The physicality of the performer, sound, instrument, and also the pitch. So currently I have the B, the pitch B as the main pitch, because the sometimes we have to calculate from the instrument, like when I just put the tubes, like what is the main sound, what is the main character of the instrument, and then so I just calculate the spectrum of the pitches like chords. So the piece is like the whole chord for the whole performance. So I have some guitar preparation for the tuning as well. So here, let's see a few pages. So the notation that I create is more graphical, like to show, to be a representation of the motion that performer has to do like the circle, and then some like more traditional stuff. And at the end, I I like to have some a little bit of theatrical aspect inside the piece because the strings and also the tubes uh, has potential as the whip, right? So at the end of the piece, I ask performers to have an action to slap on the floor and the slap on the guitar. It's a kind of like paying the scene or something. So let's see the performance a little bit. Yep, something like that. So I would just like put some link to the YouTube channel as well. Cool. Okay, so for this piece, you can see that there is a development from just the instrumental construction and become more like the construction of instruments. There is different characters of the sound through action. For example, there is a physicality of playfulness. It seems like performer has ability to play by enjoy with the motion is like a playtime for them, right? And at the same time, it's like the time of torture because the instrument itself it looks torturing because it got distracted by something which alienated from them. Like have some strings inside, you have to whip on the guitar, you have to hit on the instrument, you have to break the saxophone out. So that's a kind of like I try to balance between sonic and conceptual idea between this piece, so that oh sorry yeah so that that's a piece for the duo. So thanks for my friends who playing that. Okay, so it becomes to the last piece of today. It's a kind of like the bigger piece, which I found that is the it's not the real ultimate um, result from the ideas, but it's a kind of expansion even more because I feel like after these pieces, I still want to explore sound and material on tubes still because I feel like it there are still more potentialities to work on that. So the next piece, I call it Smelly Tubes. It's already performed twice, once in America and once in Bangkok. So I call it Smelly Tube for 14 instrumentalists. It's a piece that aim to explore unusual sonic possibilities, of course, something in the world of noise and the parodic culture of main instrument of each instrumentalist and the secondary instrument, which is tubes, where both instrument and objects become a tool for instrumentalists. Okay, make it more easy. So we have instrument as objects, and we have performer as the user of that object. So there is the interaction between who play and who get played, you know. So with the idea of main instrument, secondary instrument, user, and objects, it design and create some kind of weird or like ugly sound and sometimes like strange from the orchestra culture. So as here, we have some bullets here. So there is a physicality and the motion of the sound connection in between. There's an oscillation between human body, instrument, and object. So like these three things have the combined together. So it's create kind of different level of controlling instrumental or musical parameters. What does it mean? It means like uh, usually if you play clarinet, you have to play with fingers. But somehow, if clarinet is not clarinet anymore, but it's a kind of hybrid clarinet by having different objects to be attached and kind of evolve, so that how we can control the instruments as the performer. So it creates some kind of theatrical development, and kind of like performer can choose how to design the sound by adjusting the embouchure, by adjusting the construction of the instrument, by that decision. So there's unfamiliarity for them, of course. So I think the unfamiliarity is a good exploration for musicians to explore more different kind of things and kind of like go beyond what the instrument could be doing. So yeah, so that's a kind of like general idea. So look at the instruments here. Like last time, the saxophone is connected by tubes. Here is the oboe reeds, bassoon reeds, and some kind of like double reeds development. So as you can see here, there's a different kind of attachment here, different kind of construction. So each construction can just blow away the classical trained musician who just say that, oh, this is stupid, or like, oh, this is just not music. But as I said to you before, if we just interpret instrument as objects, because it is an object, so that the object could be played as instrument with equality, right? We have equality in democracy, but why can't we have equality in the instrument, right? I'm a little bit off, but it's a bit, I think it's interesting. So here, the first time, sorry, I think I put the wrong name, but the first time it played in Barnes Hall with by the Festival Chamber Orchestra in Ithaca, USA. So as you can see, it's a kind of like the staging and having a lot of people carrying tubes and play, not like the orchestra form, but more like the play, right? And then this is the second performance, which happened in Thailand last year with the Tasidi Ensemble and the collaboration with PG Wim musicians. So here's a kind of like sounds that I'm interested. Yep. So that's the kind of like example. I would just put the link through the YouTube channel too. So here, let's see a little bit of analysis here. So as you can see, I hope you guys got some questions and some inspiration that you found that, oh, what is that sound, something like that. So basically everything came from the first idea from the trombone piece, right? The spinning sounds, but then there is a spinning gesture which expand to other instruments as well. Like here, brass player, both like trumpet, trombone, horns, they are attached with the tubes and using the circular motion to create the beats, the tempos, the rhythm of the sound, as well as create the dynamics, which uh, can be from very soft, like for example the beginning like one one one, and then it could be expand like something like elephant or whatever, right? So there are some potentialities of performer to create these kind of sound. There's a range and register that i I wrote the kind of description for them, for example the dynamics, pitches, gesture, but inside they can choose the sound for themselves. Because of what? Because they are the user of the object. Because sometimes this is my feeling, it's just very biased feeling. I feel that sometimes classical musicians are too much follow the rules, right? Like when people ask you to do like PPP, you have to do like very soft, but actually it resists the nature of the instrument, right? So now here, the notation that I offer, it's offer the physicality that you can produce a sound, but the sound outcome, it's similar to what I thought. Of course, I'm a composer, but it could be the freedom for them to adjust the qualities inside the sound gestures. So that's the first spinning gesture, which create the multi-direction of the works. Because like when you record the music, it's a stereo, right? But sometimes you can feel the way that if your head is here, you can hear the sound like 30, how to say, like 36 36 360, right, around. So it's a kind of like surrounded experience for me. So that, and then as you can hear, like when it start from the snare, right, something like that, and then have the kind of the circulated sound. There's the response from the strings instruments too. There's the variation, which it's a kind of antiphonal texture of the spinning motions. So the response create imitate, let's say, the response imitate the kind of like smearing gesture, like as kind of like create the waves that the tubes does. So it's kind of like the connection between sound and the physical of the instrument, because um, the violin has only one or two, like, right, the whole the sound production, where the sound came out, right? But in other way, like brass player, they have one, but also they have kind of flexibility in order to put the tubes and spinning around. So I think it's a kind of like variation between both instruments. And the third variation, it's more theatrical way, because for example, as you can see, there's some moment that the lady, the flute player, Patapon, she just like do the kind of like spinning motion, and then it creates. Um, it's like when you try to do long tone, right? And then people push you. There's a kind of like oscillation. There's some kind of like movements of the sound. So that I got an idea about using physicality of the motion of using instrument in order to create the diversity of sound too. So I think it's a kind of like another variation of the spinning gesture, and then it applies to different kind of instrumental families like woodwinds, strings, brass, and some like percussion instrument. So that talking about the stage, this is the first stage setup that it's kind of it's very typical for music theater, right? Because in music theater we can set up in a different form. It doesn't have to be like symphony orchestra that, oh, violin. Sorry, I'm a conductor. Violin one has to be here, brass there, woodwinds there. But here it's more like everyone has their own theater. They have their place. Each of them has their place to do activity, to produce the sound from their object, from their instrument, right? So this is the static setup. So the second one, um, there's a kind of like, like in Thailand, marching band is very famous. It's a very popular. So I found that it would be nice to attach this idea, the popular culture, inside my own works, because there is a spinning idea inside the marching band. For example, when I was from Assumption College, so I used to walk in the marching band a lot, and then there is a motion that I have to turn left, turn right, quarter mark, kind of like have the circular motion. So I found that there is a circulation of the setup, which could be a good theatrical material for the piece. So that I use that for the second stage. Let's see a little bit of that. For example, here. So like people start to have like marching. Yep, I guess this is about the time. So, yes, as you can see, there is a kind of like circulation of the marching band. People has to follow the person who in front of you. So it's kind of like the spinning sound and motion in the version of theater, something like that. So and also like there's of course the last setup, which is I call it chaotic setup. It's a kind of when they have a lot of twists, right? A lot of circulation. It creates such a randomness. It creates a different kind of happening, right? sometimes performer can choose the way that they can produce the sound with by running or by playing with the audience or somehow like playing with each other or just like do nothing as well. So it's a more like improvisation way. So yep. So that's about it. That's about for today, like about the spinning sounds, the idea of using um, one idea to focus on one idea about composing objects. For me, all objects could be instrument. I just repeat it again because all object has such potential if we composer rethink again about the material of the object, right? For example, I look trombone as a metal piece, right? Bronze, something like that. I can hit them. I can saw, use the chainsaw on them. I can burn them. You know, it's a kind of like the possibility of using that, not just only play it traditionally, you know. So if we think about objects as instrument more, we can have plenty of instruments to play. We don't need viola concerto anymore. We don't need like maybe we need, but I mean we don't need a lot of them. But maybe we can have how to say, some people had I couldn't remember, like ping pong concerto. Some people could have like a soap, like soap gel concerto, like washing their hand. Maybe some people get an idea, COVID situation, wash your hand concerto, something like that. So I think it's gonna create a kind of like expansion of culture, not just only the traditional one. But I think all arts are good. So like all the music, all the tradition, they have the respect. So this is just one part of the exploration, experimentation. So I think it would be great to see more how the instrument or how the object can develop. Okay, so this is a little bit like I just have a few minutes left. So I just want to share my current project, which actually postponed for next year. So it's a project for human and machine improvisation in action with International Contemporary Ensemble, Guy Hoffman, Cornell Robotic Teams, Marianthi Papa Alexandri, the curator, who is my advisor. So we explore the machine as objects, let's say. We explore the material of the machine, of the objects, and create them to be related with human behaviors. So this is the prototype. It's called Blossom, very cute. It's Blossom created by Michael Sukita, who the PhD student at Cornell, so that we, as you can see here, I built a contact mic and then put it in to the blossom texture and then create the motion sensor in order to get some kind of like motion sound of the machine, right? And then I just call it cheesy way, like blossoms shadow, like is last time we collaborate with the bassist from ICE, Marcel Lewandowski. So he improvised bass through the projection where it has the shadow of the blossom, which has reaction and interaction between them. So I would like to share a little bit here. This is the human reaction and machine, right? They have call and response. So as you can see here, Blossom has been explored through the visualization in the shadow, as well as the performer, as well as Marche. And then there is a communication between human and machine. Human just talk, and human just robot just talk, and human just answer. But there is another way of the interaction, which is simultaneously resolved. here. As you can see here, the robot moves um, simultaneously with the movement of Marsh's hand, right? When he moves the hands, the robot move follow that way too, and also creates kind of like very cutesy Mickey Mouse sound, right? Something like that. So I think it's kind of interesting to explore about this more. And then, okay, so I just want to go to the conclusion. So today, composing objects, I would like to just conclude my praxis. Like in my compositional thought, I'm focusing on the gesture. It doesn't have to be only spinning tubes. I used to present this presentation in some schools, in some university, and I got a question that, are you only write music for tubes? Well, of course not. I write different kind of music. So, but focusing on one idea is my main goal. And then the second one is I like to bend the notion of the instrument, how to make the instrument culture more flexible, more captivate, more designable. Repurposing objects, of course. Obviously, I try to um, think, rethink the object as the different instruments, right? The oscillation concept of instrumental culture and sound, and also the curiosity is very important for me. Like as a performer, composer, like how we define the sound, how we choose the sound, and how we select the sonic moment inside our score, inside our composition. So that's it. I think you guys enjoy my presentation. If you have any questions, please contact me. Like, do not hesitate. So just go through my website, see some works if you like, piyawatmusic.com, or just send me some questions, piyawatcomposer@gmail.com. So lastly, thank you very much, Gian and Professor Kim, for uh, this kind invitation. I would love to be back to Seoul National University again someday, and I'm very happy to share my music with you all. So I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you very much. Bye.